Lesson 8.2 is about properties of parallelograms. Now we're going to look at some special polygons. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral, 4 sides, with both pair of opposite sides parallel. So for parallelogram PQRS, you could write it as little symbol parallelogram PQRS, and by definition, PQ is parallel to RS and QR is parallel to PS. So by definition, if I have a quadrilateral with the opposite sides parallel, what I have is a parallelogram. Let's look at some properties about them. If a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then its opposite sides are congruent. So not only are they parallel, but their measurements are equal, the opposite sides. And if they're parallelogram, then the opposite angles are also congruent. So their measurements are equal for opposite angles. So if I want to find the values here, of course, I can get my sides by setting x plus 4, or AB, length of AB equal to CD. So x plus 4 is 12, so x is 8. And angle Y is the angle opposite of angle, or angle A is the angle opposite of angle C. So the measurement of angle A, which is Y, is going to be equal to 65. So that is 65 degrees. So here's one for you to try. I think you can see that since opposite sides are congruent, that GF will be 8, and since opposite angles are congruent, angle G will be 60 degrees. So 8 and 60. Once again, in this one, to get my sides, y plus 3 is 18, so y would be 15, and 2x is equal to 50, so x would be 25. We have another theorem here that says that opposite angles are congruent, but consecutive angles are supplementary. Now that should make sense because this is a quadrilateral, so it has to add up to be 360 degrees altogether. Well, if I have two pair of congruent sides, then each of those pair of sides, consecutive sides, would have to add up to be half of 360, which is 180. So given that ABCD is a parallelogram, find it. First thing you need to do is draw and label a figure. That is vital in getting these correct, to be able to see, are these opposite angles or are they consecutive angles? In this case, they're consecutive, which means that they're supplementary, add up to be 180, so x is 70 degrees in this case. This also says that if it's a parallelogram, that the two diagonals bisect one another. If I draw diagonal QS and diagonal PR, then diagonal QS is divided into 2 equal parts and diagonal PR is divided into 2 equal parts. So in this case, if I want to know the coordinates of P, well, I know that my two diagonals meet at a midpoint, and so therefore I can use the midpoint formula, plug in, and find the value. It wouldn't matter which diagonal I found the midpoint of, they will come out to be the same point. So guided practice here, let's look at how we do these. It wants us to find the length of NM. Well, we can see that Kn is 2, and since those diagonals bisect, that means Nm is 2. It wants us to find Km. Well, that's the entire one. If both parts are 2, then that makes the entire length 4. It wants me to find JML. Well, what you have to notice here is that JML is the entire big angle that is consecutive with 110, so that makes it 70. And now it wants me to find KML, and angle KML is the missing part of the 70 degree when part of it is 30, so that makes that one